Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful and honestly, one of the least understood institutions in the country, the Reserve Bank of India. We're going to explore its absolutely critical role and the quiet, almost invisible powers it uses to protect our entire financial system.
Just stop and think about that for a second. It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? This one question really gets to the very heart of why an institution like the RBI isn't just important, it is absolutely essential for a stable economy.
And look, this isn't just some made-up, scary scenario. For a huge part of India's history, the fear of your bank just collapsing and taking your entire life savings with it was a very common and devastating reality.
To really get what the RBI does today, we've got to go back in time. We're talking about an era of complete financial chaos, a period you could pretty much call the Wild West of Indian banking.
This timeline really shows you just how incredibly fragile things were. Banks would just pop up and then poof, they'd disappear. That period around World War I was especially brutal. It created this vicious cycle of booms and busts that just completely destroyed public confidence. It was so clear that something had to change.
And the scale of this crisis is just staggering. 94 banks failed in just 5 years. This wasn't just a financial problem, It was a social crisis that wiped out trust and just slammed the brakes on any kind of economic progress. The country was desperate for a financial guardian. So out of all that chaos came this huge push to create a strong central regulator, an institution that could finally bring some order, enforce some rules, and most importantly, protect the money of ordinary people. And the solution that came along was a total game changer, the Banking Regulation Act of 1949. This single law became the bedrock of modern Indian banking. It basically handed the RBI a clear rulebook and, crucially, the authority to enforce it. This is what turned it into the powerful guardian we know today.
And this wasn't just about creating rules for the sake of rules. The Act had some very clear goals. And right there at the top of the list, protecting you, the depositor. Pretty much every other objective, from controlling where new branches could open to setting how much cash banks needed to have, was all designed to build a system that was safe, reliable, and trustworthy.
All right, so with this powerful act in its corner, what exactly can the RBI do? Let's open up its toolkit and take a look at the specific instruments it uses to keep our economy healthy.
It's really helpful to think about the RBI's powers in two big categories. You've got the regulatory tools, which are kind of like the rules of the road for every single bank. And then you have the monetary tools, which it uses to control the big picture flow of money in the entire economy.
Now, these are what you might call the RBI's silent features, all the crucial behind-the-scenes work that keeps the whole system stable. First off, the RBI is the ultimate gatekeeper. It decides who even gets a license to be a bank. Then, it has the authority to just walk into any bank anytime and look at their books. And most importantly, if it finds something wrong, it can issue direct orders, step in to manage a crisis, or even force a merger to protect depositors. This is the day-to-day work of that financial guardian.
This table shows you exactly how those high-level decisions the RBI makes actually reach your wallet. So when the RBI changes the repo rate, it's basically tweaking how much it costs for banks to borrow money. The banks, of course, pass that cost on to you, which directly hits the interest rate on your home loan or your car loan. And in the same way, by adjusting things like the CRR or SLR, they control how much money is even available for lending in the whole economy. It's a really powerful set of levers to either cool things down or get the economy moving.
So the RBI seems all-powerful, right? Well, not exactly. There's a really critical and often overlooked limit to its authority, especially when we start talking about the banks that are owned by the government itself.
So here's the crucial point, and it's stated perfectly by a former RBI governor himself. Who owns the bank matters. A lot. It fundamentally changes the whole dynamic, and it really determines just how much power the RBI truly has over that bank.
And the difference is just stark. With a private bank, the RBI has the power to fire the management, to force a merger if things go wrong. But with public sector banks, its hands are often tied. It can't remove directors who are appointed by the government. It can't force a liquidation. This creates this kind of dual system where the rules of the road aren't really applied equally to everybody.
Okay, so after looking at the history, the powers, and the limits, let's bring it all back home. Let's connect all the dots and see how the actions of this one institution in Mumbai actually affect your financial life every single day.
So why does the RBI matter to you? Well, because it's the ultimate guardian of your savings.
It's the institution that's working to stop a repeat of that Wild West era. Its decisions directly determine the EMI on your car or your home loan. It's fighting inflation to make sure your salary is worth as much tomorrow as it is today. I mean, to put it simply, a stable, growing economy rests on the very foundation that the RBI works so hard to maintain.
And that really leaves us with one final and I think pretty provocative question. We rely on the RBI to be our financial guardian, to be independent, to be effective. But this raises a much deeper point about the very delicate balance of power, of accountability, and of independence that defines not just the RBI, but the entire foundation of our economic system.